A ver. Sí, chupame la bola, La interfaz está muy grande, no sé si la puedo achicar. Puede ser, ¿no? Bueno, ¿están listos? Bueno. The Shadow over London. Baker Street. Lluvia. Bueno. Ventana. Hombre subiendo escalera.
Dr. Watson, would you kindly close the door behind you so that we can limit the price of your carelessness to merely hours of work?
¿O es inglés británico?
My apologies, Mr. Holmes.
Mr.
I
Holmes.
found myself rather taken aback. I saw tidier houses in war-torn Afghanistan. Are those my surgical needles?
I ran out of tacks and the matter required immediate attention.
Was that my supper?
Plainly not, for I was the one who ate it.
I set it aside for this evening.
And for that I am grateful.
Is that my bed?
Watson, since you've proven yourself a master of observation, might I ask you to apply your skills to a more pertinent question?
El malquito, a la altura.
Today's newspapers. They are the key.
¿Dónde tenés que estar en el avión, Arturito?
The newsboy is usually reliable.
Hombre, abre la
I
puerta.
often find that the key to everything is good sleep. In a bed. Your papers are here on the table.
Mañana va. Ah, cierto, mañana. No era hoy.
See what the postman brought today.
Hoy. Muy buena máquina que está. ¿Cómo anda el Johnny, pa? El Johnny 3090. Las tensiones entre Inglaterra y Suecia están escalando tras una serie de percances desafortunados durante la reciente visita a Londres de la princesa sueca Hildur. El mayor de los escándalos fue vergüenza de los cuerpos diplomáticos británicos tras la desaparición inexplicable del guardaespaldas personal de la princesa Hildur. El miembro veterano que su círculo más cercano se aventó a explorar Londres mientras estaba libre y nunca volvió de su paseo nocturno. Un portavoz de la policía le asegura al de Advertside que están seguros que lo encontrarán, ya que su miembro llamativo del pueblo escandinavo. Un hombre así llama la atención, ya sea la de otros hombres en los clubes para caballeros o el de las aves nocturnas que los consuelan. Opa, 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 opa. Estamos viendo acá con los pasajeros para saludar. Los pasajeros.
Local gossip, all of it uninteresting.
O sea, está resarpado en cumbia,
Your order from Barnes Bookshop has arrived, Doctor.
Su pedido a la librería.
Insists on delivering the books to our door, even though we
¿A
can
la
deliver
cartita?
to his shop. That's good service.
Another letter from Werner.
Werner.
Never reply, but they keep
But
coming.
the pie? But the cake coming? Es inglés británica.
I don't see the strand. Where is it?
Pardon me?
I am on the precipice of uncovering a pattern of crime across London spanning many months and involving many men.
Es la azafata que se copia a su más.
Those
Harry Potter.
preposterous.
Te
My dear
cura.
fellow, life is infinitely stranger than anything which the mind of man can invent.
Well, life used your newspaper to wipe its posterior, so after that unpleasant discovery this morning, I disposed of it. But in lieu of the strand, perhaps I can deliver you something equally tantalizing. I have just returned from a patient of mine, Captain Stempley, who...
No, that will not do. Grab your coat, Dr. Watson. Let us
Dr.
hope
Watson?
nobody's collected the dustbin.
Watson. Falta de strand. Hoy está lloviendo, viste algo más apropiado para este tiempo. Ahora el libro de casos y desplázate a la pestaña de ropero con pestaña para colocarte el sombrero. Bueno, está bien. Watson y Sherlock eran Hayes. 100% confirmado, era la armada. Luis. Así que cuando no estás en este stream estás haciendo esas cosas, ¿eh? ¿Qué te pasa, gato? ¿Me lleva?
The dustbin is yours for the digging, Mr. Holmes.
Sí o sí. Ah, no me acuerdo ni dónde tengo que ir, a ver. Ah, pará.
A cactus spine. If it gets in your skin, it's awfully tricky to remove, and when laced with poison, the perfect assassination tool.
Rico. Para poco la otra ficha, estoy siempre dándote de comer.
You were mistaken, Dr. Watson. The paper was indeed dirtied, but not how you implied. It's potting soil. See, Watson? The conspiracy is real. Someone tried to poison me.
Poison? You? That's madness.
Get the strand. Get your copy of the strand here. Sorry, Mr. Holmes. I just sold my last paper.
Blast. Then why are you still here?
Boss pays by the hour. No sense in returning early.
You're a bright child. I presume you see everything that goes on around here?
Nothing gets past me, mister.
Then tell me, did
Mister.
you notice anyone suspicious at my door this morning?
Like the man with your newspaper?
Precisely. What do you know?
I know the value of a shilling.
Dr. Watson,
Sure, now I can take the day off.
did you see what he was up to?
Nah, not really. I saw him approaching your house, but I had a customer. Then there's a loud bang. I ducked down. Not because I was scared, because I wasn't. I had to protect the merchandise. And all I could see was him kneeling at your door.
You know.
Which way did he go?
Not sure. I was distracted by customers. Sorry.
Can you describe the man you saw?
He was carrying a lot of books. Up to his chin they were.
Never heard of a well-read assassin.
Después te masajeamos. Dale un poco de masaje para acomodar.
Hence the
No.
appeal of disguises. All right. You earned your shilling. That'll be all.
Thanks, Mr. Holmes. Maybe I could be your eyes and ears. If you have more shillings.
Quieren arruinado Strands. Oh, maldita sea, soy un genio.
Come now, Mr. Holmes. Murder? Yes, Barnes
Get the
has his
strand.
quirks, but he
Get
also
your
has
copy
his
of the
scruples.
strand here.
Not every pawn knows it's... part of a game.
Yo te amo. Yo te amo. Oh.
Get the strand. Get your copy of the strand here.
Por cierto, ¿qué te parece el cocodrilo del Hunt? A mí me parece que la gente campea mucho el cocodrilo. ¿Sabes qué me parece? Nada, porque no lo jugué todavía. Ni siquiera abrí el juego. Parece nervioso con cápsulas mentales para poder vivir. ¿Cómo? Barnes Bookshop. Ok, man. ¿Qué te pasa, gato de mierda? ¿Vos me quisiste matar o qué, gato, ¿Vos me quisiste matar, gato de mierda? Bueno. Re patatera era. Lo toco el Hunt. Todo esto. Exactamente. No lo has probado, pues el evento está bastante complicado para farmear puntos. Mirá. Todos entran acá al canal y me preguntan si jugué el Hunt, cuándo voy a jugar el Hunt, qué me pareció el evento. Y de verdad que estoy trayendo muchos jueguitos re piola. Así que no me dan ganas de jugar Hunt de momento. Cuando lo juegue, podré comentar qué me parece. Pero sí, escuché que le estaba gustando bastante a la gente. Bolsas en los ojos. Consecuencias de trabajar demasiado. ¿Pero por qué no me deja ir hasta la mano? Eso es lo que no entiendo. La mano, tiene la mano de asesino. Exacto, pero mirá, hasta ahí me llega la manito. Ah, qué hijo de puta. ¿Tinta de periódico? Este Sherlock Holmes está muy chulo, la verdad. Sí, la verdad que está re piola. Todos le preguntan a Marquito el Hunt, pero nadie le pregunta a Marquito, está bien, ¿cómo fue tu día? No, la sangre. Pero no asesinó a nadie. Fue un intento de asesinato. A ese Woody, pa. Se apoya mucho en la pierna derecha. ¿Acá? Mira ese golito mal. ¿Quiere parecer más alto? Tacones. Tinta de periódico. Quiere parecer más alto. Se apoya mucho en la pierna derecha. Bolsa en los ojos. Víctima de chantaje. El señor Burns ha desarrollado una cojera y tiene bolsas en los ojos. Resultado de largas horas de trabajo intenso. No tiene demasiada confianza en sí mismo e intenta parecer más alto con tacones. Parece poco probable que alguien así pueda estar involucrado en un asesinato, aunque la tinta en la mano parezca indica que es el king de su el perico. No obstante, el señor Burns podría ser un peón en un plan menor sin ser consciente. Adicción al trabajo o víctima de chantaje. Pasa hambre, mepa. ¿Qué aquí? Digo, Marquito es adicto al trabajo. Tiene pinta que no, ¿no?
Mr. Barnes, a word.
What's the bar? A what?
Oh, for goodness sake.
Who goes there?
Sherlock Holmes. Now will you please...
Mr. Holmes. Golly, I did not see you come in.
Would you care to answer some questions for me?
Well, I wish I could, but I am deep in the weeds with work. How about we reschedule in a month or two?
Come now, Mr. Barnes. It will only take a moment.
No, really deep in the weeds with with important things. Well, help yourself to any book. Just take it and pay later. I trust you, Mr. Holmes.
Barnes doesn't seem like himself. Why is he acting this way?
You're
Listen up.
asking the right questions, Doctor. Let's find a way to coax him out. The ladder is broken recently, judging by the freshness of the wood.
Apologies, but I can't hear you. Please come back later.
So,
Barnes has
Barnes
always
is a
been a
dog
little
now.
odd, but this is uncharacteristic even for him. We're looking for a cactus needle in a haystack. A spine in a book stack? No, come on, Watson, think.
I could hardly imagine anything more macabre.
Catálogo de plantas exóticas del mostrador de Burns. En el nombre del catálogo, plantas eternas para un amor eterno. Opa.
Basics of cryptoanalysis, cryptography in Egypt. It appears Barnes has an interesting hobby.
No, no. No diga esas cosas, mi hijo.
In the language of Mycroft's secret agents, it's a sign. Dried flowers are replaced when the job is done. I wonder who the recipient is. An improvised stand, but it does make the flowers more visible. The finest view London has to offer.
Nosotros trabajando de Sherlock nos cagamos de risa. De hambre, digo. Exacto.
So, Barnes has a dog now. Who's a good boy?
I like bookshops. One of the few spots in London where you are shunned for making a racket.
Voy a robar la plata, dame.
Didn't you once tell me that answers usually lie in plain sight? Didn't you once tell me that answers usually lie in plain sight?
The weather is dreary, isn't it? To be fair, my flowers could use the rainfall.
Va a estar algo que sabe algo así, tiene que matarlo. Hizo la caminata lunar Watson, qué capo. Faltan más cosas. Hay que poner 3 bombas en su vehículo. Buah.
Can I ask you a question? Sorry, sir, I can't help you. Help me, please.
It's a shame, but I can't help you.
Ah, todos nos
Didn't
vamos
you
a ver.
once tell me that answers usually lie in plain sight?
Can I ask you a question? Sorry, sir, I can't help you.
Para me puede ayudar, boludo.
Didn't you once tell me that answers usually lie in plain sight?
An improvised stand, but it does make the flowers more visible. Encouraging people to stop and smell the roses?
Our national emblem. God save the Queen.
Cactus.
Familiar spine? Is this what I found in my dustbin? The pot is damaged. The blow was severe, but softened by something. It must take patience and care to produce a bloom so beautiful.
I imagine so. I merely sell them. Anything tickle your fancy, Mr. Holmes?
Elemental, mi querido Watson. Broche de luto. En honor a María ofensiva. Pago común para ropa trajo. Cubrir cansancio. Se ha cambiado cansado de llegar. Mirada distantes. Creo que aún está con el duelo. Si tiene el colgante.
My condolences, Mrs. Fleming.
Mr. Holmes?
Your husband's death. You're clearly still in mourning.
Oh, no. I loved him more than anything, of course, but that was some time ago now. Life goes on.
A lesson we all learn, one way or another.
Are you sure you're asking the right person? I'm just a flower seller.
One of these things is not like the other.
Come again?
The cactus. Those fearsome spines can prove a devil to remove, and the sap is often toxic.
And a rose thorn can give you tetanus, but we still grow them. The cactus seems comparatively harmless, though you have me thinking it must be valuable.
I was under the impression that you knew its price already.
Your guess is as good as mine. The first time I saw this cactus was when I came back from my break.
What do you make of the flowers in Barnes' shop window?
Well, they could use a bit of water.
Do they mean anything to you?
Mean anything how? I'm not sure I follow, Mr. Holmes.
Why do you think they're there?
Are you suggesting the flowers are for me?
It seems likely, does it not?
Oh, I hope you're right.
Opa. La señorita Fleming está queriendo levantarse al bibliotecario, opa.
I don't know anything about this, sorry. Are you sure you're asking the right person? I'm just a flower seller. I'm afraid I can't help with that, Mr. Holmes. I don't know anything about this, sorry. I don't know anything about this, sorry. Are you sure you're asking the right person? I'm just a flower seller. I'm afraid I can't help with that, Mr. Holmes.
Are you familiar with Mr. Barnes?
Yes, no, not really.
Duelo a muerte con navaja. Ya, pa.
What on earth does that mean?
I know who he is, of course, but we haven't shared much more than a look.
A look?
Yes.
A leg?
Each morning I go for a walk in the park with my dog, and most days I spot Mr. Barnes there with his new puppy, so we see each other. Actually, we once met briefly while our dogs played. He was quiet and seemed unsteady as he approached, but since then, we've never spoken. I often see him staring through the shop window. Sometimes I wonder what he thinks about that would etch such longing onto his face.
What? Vamos a conectar cosas. El señor Barnes se la quiere besar. Exacto. Barnes exhibe un ramo de flores muertas para atraer la atención de la señora Fleming, florista. Espera que ella entre a la tienda y le dé consejo de riego, o puede ser que sea solamente una señal de su desesperación. Barnes le regaló de forma anónima el cactus que pidió por el catálogo de su mostrador. Una elección cuestionable, pero para Barnes un símbolo de amor, su amor eterno. Y que en el catálogo dice que estos cactus son inmortales. En pocas palabras, el mismo cactus que dejó caer sobre The Strand, fuera de la 22.1b de la calle. Hacemos ahora la historia completa. ¿Va?
I think perhaps I have been chasing shadows.
Do not despair, Mr. Holmes. Even the best of us make mistakes. We better tell Mr. Barnes what we've learned.
Mr. Barnes,
Abre la puerta,
I
hijo
know
de
what you
puta.
did, and I know why you did it.
I'm sorry, Mr. Holmes. I can't hear you very well from behind the door.
You ordered a cactus from the plant catalogue and then left it for Mrs.
No,
Fleming
Black,
as a
no.
gift. You place flowers in the window to get her attention and wear high heels to appear taller and more desirable. You are her secret admirer.
What?
I couldn't read this morning's edition of The Strand because it was covered in soil and spines. I know you dropped a cactus on it and then fled.
Barnes, it's Dr. Watson. Rest assured we are not interested in disclosing your personal affairs to anyone, including Mrs. Fleming. Please come out.
All right then.
So, you know what happened then? I was on my way back from the post office, having picked up the cactus and some books. It was quite an awkward package, heavy too, and when I got to your door, I dropped the cactus in your paper. Forgive me.
I needed that paper to prove a theory and prevent a crime. Your actions were rather disruptive. Your clumsiness carrying the post is matched only by the clumsiness of your romantic gesture.
Oh, it's true. I am useless with this sort of thing. I'm not even sure if Mrs. Fleming noticed.
Sé lo que hay que hacer.
As in most
Vale,
things
cacheteé
in
una
life,
nalga.
death
Bueno.
is the answer. Cease with the obtruse signals and anonymous gifts, and simply talk to the woman. What is the worst that can happen? She rejects you, and you are freed from this endless purgatory.
That... Yes, you are correct, of course. I do have a slight tendency to overthink things.
Dame así. Yeah.
Thank you.
So, at last, we return to the matter of the paper. I'm investigating a string of burglaries. Did you perhaps read of any before the edition was spoiled?
I don't recall, but you're welcome to read our copy for yourself.
You had an issue of The Strand here all along?
Well, naturally. I am a bookseller. I have a subscription to every magazine and newspaper in London.
So you ought to be
In
familiar
London.
with the concept of burying the lead.
Oh no, my apologies, Mr. Holmes. I'll make it up to you however I can. I am an expert on obscure languages and translation and...
Scotland languages.
Yes, okay. Just give me the paper. Come, Dr. Watson. Let us put this matter behind us.
Farewell, Mr. Barnes. I hope to hear good news about you and Mrs. Fleming.
Let me know if there's any way I can make it up to you. Tell you what. Tomorrow's edition of The Strand is on me. Okay, not just tomorrow. A whole week's worth. How does that sound? You're right, I could do more. Next time you move house, I'll be there to help. I'm great with boxes.
I'm sure Barnes has had enough of our meddling, Mr. Holmes. We'd best be off.
Well, that was an utter waste of time.
An assassination did seem rather unlikely.
There was supposed to be another burglary. I was certain of it. Something you wish to say, Doctor?
No? Well, only that you have a remarkable faculty for deduction and pattern recognition. And that perhaps, if ill-applied...
I see things that are not there.
Yes. It is London. There will always be burglaries.
Se lo dame ese maldito periódico, mamá
It
huevo.
seems. Forgive me. Without something to occupy my mind, I turn into an entirely different animal.
Which brings us back to my news from earlier. I think I have a case for you, a real one.
Truly?
Indeed. Though perhaps not as thrilling as...
Ya que le tripaba a Marquito.
A patient of mine, Captain Stenwick, told me
No sé.
his servant disappeared. I said I knew just the man to help. What do you say?
Oh, Watson.
What?
I know it's not the most tantalizing mystery, nor the story to launch my writing career, but
It's brilliant. Let's go.
It's brilliant. Let's go, man.
well, his house is nearby. Come.
La pelea contra Hércules. Oh, ya ganó. Bueno.
Not much further now. Stenwick is just down the street from Barnes's bookshop.
Ganó,
Is this lousy attitude of yours because of my altercation with Inspector Lockhart? Did he put you up to this?
Sir, the inspector has nothing to do with it. I'm telling you the same thing I tell anyone seeking a missing person.
Good day, gentlemen. Forgive the intrusion. Captain Stenwick, this is my colleague Sherlock Holmes, the consulting detective I told you about.
At last, a professional. This useless officer refuses to do anything about Kimmy here, my missing servant. What was your name again? I shall be certain to inform your superiors.
Sergeant Ruffles. But it's my superiors who made this decision, sir.
¿Por qué no piensan
Why
investigar?
has the police department decided not to help?
We investigate murders, thefts, fraud, arson, real crimes. A servant walking away from his master is not our highest priority. That said, if we find Kimahia breaking the law, we'll be sure to notify Captain Stenwick.
Have there been other disappearances lately?
Of course, here and there. But when life is tough and opportunity comes knocking, you can't blame those who answer. Now, I must be off. Best of luck in your search.
You heard that, didn't you? The way that man spoke to me. I shall need your written testimony. Then we can lodge a complaint.
Captain, perhaps Mr. Holmes' time is better spent learning about your servant, so that he may begin his investigation.
Ah, yes. Quite right. Fire away.
¿Puede describir a Kimihia?
Tell me about Kimahia.
He's foreign. A Maori. All the way from New Zealand. Biggest man you've ever seen. And as strong as two. Dark hair and fearsome tattoos. He doesn't speak a wit of English. Never bothered to learn. But I made do with pointing. I invested a lot of money in him, so he must be found.
When did you last see your servant?
Kimmy here normally brings me the morning papers, but yesterday I had to get them myself. He must have escaped the night before yesterday.
May I see your servant's bedroom?
His shack is in the garden. You can't miss it.
Did you search the room?
Of course, but only to check he wasn't lying dead inside. Everything seemed normal at a glance.
Había oído
I
antes.
take it this is the first time Kimahia has vanished?
Undoubtedly. The man seemed terrified of the city. I think it was all the noise. He never left this estate. Should he cause any damage, I will bear the responsibility, for it was
Muchas gracias, Blackcito. Sí, a veces se me olvida, macho.
Is there any reason Kimahia may have left?
¿Tiene una feca?
Not. He had all he could have wanted. Gainful employment, new clothes, and all the cabbage he could eat.
¿Robó algo?
Did Kimahia make off with anything of value?
Heavens, no. I would have mentioned it to Sergeant Ruffles.
Still, he must have fled with some money on his person.
No, no. I kept his wages in my safe. For security.
All right, Captain. I think I have enough to get started. We shall first take a look around the mansion.
Go ahead. I'll be here, mentally drafting my complaint. Why are you still here?
Chewing tobacco.
Che tobacco.
A shoe print, roughly size 11, with a worn-out sole. These are a workman's boots.
¿Me está faltando alguna cosa otra vez?
Looks like a knee print. Someone knelt here. The amount of chewing tobacco suggests they were waiting a while.
Amazing, Mr. Holmes. To read the ground like an open book.
Could have left these tracks. They seem fresh.
Fue buenísimo, estaba comparando con el cocodrilo del Hunt.
No air coming through it. Bottom chops, the remains of a meal. The ashes are long since cold. A heavy chemical odor. Lend me your nose, Doctor.
Ah, I'll never forget that smell after my time in Afghanistan. That's an opioid, Mr. Holmes, a narcotic.
Is this a Tanifa, a Maori water spirit, or something else?
Either way, it's giving me chills.
A Maori nose flute. Ngurus, they're called.
Good. Falopa.
Clothes made of hessian. Is Sting really so miserly? This lock is quite unusual. It appears that the key should be bent to the right.
La cara puso ahí.
Impressive. The sack of grain retained the shape of an impact. Someone hit their head here. These were sturdy boxes.
La cosa
Would have
rara
required
será
a
la
serious
faltante, sí,
blow to
parece que sí.
A scrap of Hessian.
Pero este me falta acá y no sé qué. No me deja subir hasta el techo. Mira, acá está. Este es el tope que me deja subir. Todo el borde. No, hasta ahí acá. Ahí abajo solo. No, esto ya está. Ya investigué. Ya está. Eso blanco abajo de las maderas. No, no hay un charco blanco.
The rag reeks of smoke. Someone plugged the chimney.
Esto es lo último que me está faltando, pero... Voy a extraerme las cosas abajo de la pala. Claro, pero el tema es que no me marca nada acá. Ay, mira. Hoy no me he marcado, boludo.
A small navy spyglass.
Hijo de puta. Hoy no, te juro que no me he marcado, boludo. ¿A dónde tiran las pistas de Quimija? Resto de trabajo de montar. Falta lejos. Uf. Y una marquita del juego está durísima esa, sí.
Are you joking? Why would I know this?
Is this spyglass familiar?
I don't recognize it.
Could it be Kimahir's, perhaps?
I doubt it. I never saw him with it, nor could I suggest how he might have come by it. Are you joking? Why would I know this? I thought you were meant to be intelligent. Yes, I had to give him something to clothe himself. He seemed unfazed by his bare skin, but I found it distracting. Yes, I have uncommon locks on every door of my mansion. It makes them harder to pick. Kimmy here and I both had a set of keys.
I'll need to borrow them.
No, you'll need to do what I tell you to do. Examine the garden.
Pues puta. Estoy arreglando todo, loco.
Has Kimahir ever indulged in tobacco?
No, the man doesn't even drink.
Are you certain? I found chewing tobacco in the garden.
I controlled Kimihir's expenses since he struggled with the currency. I would have known if he used tobacco.
Tobacco.
I thought you were meant to be intelligent.
Do you happen to know Kimahir's shoe size?
I wouldn't have the foggiest. But I'm sure it was enormous. Not that it matters. He spent his life barefoot. Despite my best efforts, he simply did not take to shoes. If you find my man, I have a marvelous whiskey with your name on it.
Está raro, sí. Sí. Te juro. Va por la chimenea.
Stenwick makes his servant live in a tool shed. You think you know someone.
Está raro, che. A ver. ¿Qué está lejos? Pero ¿por qué me desaparece el catalejo? Eso es lo que yo no entiendo. Buena, Gamer Gamer. Gracias por ese follow. No sé, no tiene esta cerradura.
This lock is quite unusual. It appears that the key should be bent to the right.
Si no me están faltando pistas afuera, tal vez.
This dreary rain is making a miserable day even worse.
Ah, no me deja ir para allá.
Could you help me? I wish I could help you, but I don't know.
But I don't know.
Is this familiar to you?
I don't think anyone here knows the answer. You should ask someone else.
May I ask you something?
I can't help you with that, sir.
Do you think Kimmy here had an accomplice in his escape?
No, sigue estando ahí adentro de la pista. Estaba fumando un chorro y se cayó ahí, weón. Fumó alto churrasco. Esa es una gran pregunta. Pero no entiendo por qué está el catalejo acá tampoco. Para mí, ese le tapó la chimenea, este se meó, se ahogó. Y algo así habrá sido.
Yes, Denwick is no angel, but he's one of my few.
No me están faltando pistas. ¿Qué la fiera, cómo andas, querido?
Are you stupid, Mr. Holmes? Stop loitering and go and do your job.
Tiene que estar obsesivo para descubrir en algún lado o preguntarse de dónde sacó el trapo. El culo. Ropa chepe, había un montón de ropa hecha de arpillera. O sea, el trapo ese no era. Ahora profesora pertenece a alguien de la clase obrera. Capitán, ¿conoce el L2? ¿Qué es el L2, guachín?
May I ask you something?
I can't help you with that, sir.
May I ask for your assistance?
A lady doesn't know about such things.
Ah, sí, lo conozco.
Are you able to help me?
No, I don't know anything about that.
Could you help me?
I don't think anyone here knows the answer. You should ask someone else.
Está una mierda, guacho.
This disappearance is intriguing, though. I cannot make head nor tail of it.
Contarle al gallo capaz te responde. ¿Qué responde, boludo? Metal Gear me volví a mi época de cuando tenía 6 años. Qué piola, no, yo en ese tiempo no tenía ni internet, ¿no? Para mí entonces me están faltando pistas y afuera no es. Hay llaves.
This disappearance is intriguing, though. I cannot make head nor tail of it.
Claro, supuestamente en esa llave están ahí. Se la habla poco común. Es algo de la cerradura. Esta es la puerta. La tiene la cerradura especial. Esta carreta como que se chocó ahí.
Is this a tanny farm, a Maori water spoon, or something else? No air coming through it. No air coming through it. Clothes made of Hessian. Is Sten really so miserly? Clothes made of
This
Hessian.
disappearance is
Is Sten
intriguing, though.
really
I
so
cannot make
miserly?
head nor tail of it.
These were sturdy boxes. It would have required a serious blow to break them. A scrap of Hessian.
No sé si no. Sí. Bueno, ahorita. Acá supuestamente está el catalejo. Realmente te estaba mandando alto churrasquito acá. Te estaba pegando una falopeada. El otro le habrá tapado la chimenea. Hizo que se maree y caiga para atrás. El tema es que no es para atrás tampoco. Ahí se desmayaría. No sé, le metería la cara ahí. Objeto, un efecto me está faltando, boludo. Parece de frente. Claro. Por eso para mí el que le está arrastrando, porque si no...
Are you stupid?
Vamos a buscar a esta por ahí. No sé si se bugueó alguna pista o algo.
Are you stupid, Mr. Holmes? Stop loitering and go and do your job.
Qué raro que haga énfasis en esta marca, pero no me deja analizar nada en la carreta.
This disappearance is intriguing, though. I cannot make head nor tail of it.
Fíjate, de arriba me aparecen dos huecos. Como que está faltando algo acá.
This disappearance is intriguing, though. I cannot
This
make
lock is
head nor
quite
tail of
unusual.
it.
It appears that the key
Claro,
should be
como
bent
nos
to the
están
right.
faltando dos pistas.
This disappearance is intriguing, though. I cannot make head nor tail of it.
Vamos a ver si volvemos para atrás. No sé.
Why are you still here?
Looks like a knee print. A shoe print, roughly size 11, with a worn-out sole. These are a workman's boots, chewing tobacco. Someone knelt here. The amount of chewing tobacco suggests they were waiting a while.
Amazing, Mr. Holmes. To read the ground like an open book.
Could have left these tracks. They seem fresh.
No, pero no entendí eso. Espera un segundo.
This lock is quite unusual. It appears that the key should be bent to the right.
Marcas paralelas, ruedas. Esa carreta no es porque estas son... Es como algo más chiquito parece esto, ¿viste? Sí, acá mira.
This lock is quite unusual. It appears that the key should be bent to the right.
Es lo único que me deja, se sale solito de ahí.
rag reeks of smoke. Someone plugged the chimney. A scrap of Hessian. These were sturdy boxes. It would have required a serious blow to break them. Impressive. The sack of grain retained the shape of an impact. Someone hit their head here. A small navy spyglass.
De la marina.
Button chops. The remains of a meal. The ashes are long since cold. A heavy chemical odor. Lend me your nose, Doctor.
Ah, I'll never forget that smell after my time in Afghanistan. That's an opioid, Mr. Holmes, a narcotic.
Vale.
No air coming through it. Is this a Tanifar, a Maori water spirit, or something else?
Either way, it's giving me chills.
Es un re quilombo. Ah, ok.
Clothes made of Hessian. Is Sten really so miserly? A Maori nose flute. Ngurus, they're called.
Estoy intrigando estas marcas, porque no es de la carreta es mucho más grande. Para Sherlock Holmes de la salada, sí, de la salada amigo, porque no estoy descubriendo una mierda. Yo creo que algo está bugueado porque me está faltando algo. No, tengo la pista de allá, las dos pistas de acá adentro. Y esta me debería marcar, desbloquear una, pero se queda acá nomás. Y no encuentro nada más. Si no, después cuando el tipo completamos las partes que nos faltan. Pero el tema es que la pista, para que nos permite, fíjate, ves, marca para las ruedas, ¿no? Va para allá, pero esa carreta no me deja interactuar nada y acá atrás no hay nada. Acá yo debería poder interactuar algo. Y no, nada. El candado ya sé. Wow. Vamos a hacer lo siguiente, le dejo acá con el Sherlock Holmes para que piensen ustedes. Y yo me voy a comer y bueno.
Someone moved a cart to this spot and then took it elsewhere. Can't see it anywhere in the garden.
Buenas, people. ¿Cómo va? ¿Todo bien? ¿Qué onda, amigo? ¿Cómo fue ese stream, guachín? Todo tranqui, papo, jugando el Extraction MOBA, ¿no? Que salió y qué onda, ¿está bueno? El tema es este. Las pistas. Depende de las pistas, es lo que resalta.
The door to your garden has an interesting lock.
Está buenazo, weón. Nice. Se llama Return Alive. Después le voy a pegar una chusmeadita, amigo, a ver qué onda. ¿Está frío o de pavo?
I'll need to borrow them.
No, you'll need to do what I tell you to do. Examine the garden.
Examine the garden.
Are you joking? Why would I know this?
I came across a pile of Hessian clothes in the shack.
Ah, de una. Lo voy a chusmear, amigo, entonces. Muchas gracias, papu.
By his bare skin, but I found it distracting.
Is this spyglass familiar?
I don't recognize it.
Could it be Kimahir's, perhaps?
I doubt it. I never saw him with it, nor could I suggest how he might have come by it.
Has Kimahir ever indulged in tobacco?
No, the man doesn't even drink.
Are you certain? I found chewing tobacco in the garden.
I controlled Kimahir's expenses since he struggled with the currency. I would have known if he used tobacco.
Bacon.
Do you happen to know Kimahir's shoe size?
I wouldn't have the foggiest, but I'm sure it was enormous.
Enormous.
Not that it matters. He spent his life barefoot. Despite my best efforts, he simply did not take to shoes.
Yeah. ¿Viste, Black? Yo te dije que era así.
Surveilling from afar, the intruder waited for a window of opportunity. When Kimahir went to sleep, the man crept up to the shack and slipped narcotics down the chimney pipe, then blocked it with a cloth. Kimahir inhaled the sedative and fell into a deep sleep. The intruder tried to move him, but the man was heavier than expected. The intruder fell on the sack and dropped his spyglass. In order to transport the servant, he had to use the cart. The final challenge was opening the garden door. Luckily for our intruder, Kimahir had the key in his shack.
Remarkable. It makes total sense.
Stenwick makes his servant live in a tool shed.
Acá
Think you know someone.
está todo resuelto, hermano. Resolvimos el maldito problem. Esta era la mierda, boludo. Me parecía.
You'd best have found something by now, gentlemen.
I fear that someone may have spied upon Kimahir. Likely the owner of the spyglass I found earlier. It appears they were watching for some time, as there was an impressive amount of chewing tobacco on the ground.
And your point?
I found the residue of narcotics in Kimahir's brazier. There are several explanations, perhaps your servant's recreational interest, or an attempt at poisoning.
Cut to the chase, Mr. Holmes.
You said that you checked the shack earlier. Did you notice the cart tracks near it? Now, one ought to expect a servant to make regular use of such a thing. Indeed, I would have overlooked the detail were it not for the cart's absence. If, as you say, Kimahir never leaves your estate, then where did it go?
I expect answers from you, Mr. Holmes, not questions.
I won't keep you in suspense any longer, Captain. Kimahir was abducted by the owner of the spyglass. When your servant fell asleep, he slipped a narcotic into Kimahir's brazier to make him sleep even more soundly. In order to carry a man as large as Kimahir, the intruder stole the cart and rolled him right out of your garden.
Now, hold on. All this simply to tell me what I already know. Why haven't you found him yet?
I only arrived a moment ago. It is, frankly, incredible that I have already deduced so much.
Every second you dawdle here, waiting for me to stroke your ego, is another second wasted. I'm not interested in the how, the why, or the who. I am only interested in recovering my investment. Spare me the claptrap, boy, and go and fetch my servant.
The point is, Captain, we're telling you this for a reason. The intruder fled through the garden door, and we need a key to follow his trail.
Well, then you should have led with that. Here you go. I hope you'll return soon with good news. And in the meantime, please teach your companion the art of brevity.
Pero viejo pelotudo, te voy a recagar a trompada, chabón. Ya, pa. Voy a reloco el marquita. Palacio de la mente. A ver. Yo todavía no tengo lleno de actividad y me queda la mitad del Devil Dota. Ah, no sé que también lo jugaba Mustanito. Modo historia profunda con lore, los juegos, es mi regla. Vamos a alta regla, perro. Si dan más regalo eso de metales, los juegos. Me gusta. Lo juega el Marquito, igual lo juega. Ese me gustó. Ya, va.
Sturdy rope, professionally tied in a Portuguese bowline. This knot is often used by sailors to create a bosun's chair. Roy Soulsby. Could that be the name of our man? A strange substance. I have my suspicions based on the color and consistency, but would you care to hazard a guess, Doctor?
Well, it's odorless, but from the way it absorbs water, I'd say saltpeter.
Then we're in agreement. Well done. Wheels picked up grass along the way. Kimahia's cart, I gather. A large pile of horse droppings. Many cigarette butts. Someone stood here for hours. There was a cab waiting here. Our abductor slipped in and then off into the night.
Lo resolví, Black, lo resolví. Esto. Hay que mover esto para que se resalten las pistas. ¿Dónde? Y ahí resaltaba lo de la carretilla y lo de la llave. Sí, remil troll, bro. Pues cerca de descubrirlo, ¿eh? Shorty.
The Strand proved not so useless after all. The saltpeter accident. Doctor, do you recall?
The Port of London, of course. The footwear, the spyglass.
Indeed. We shall need to take a cab there. Where to, Gato? The Port of London, please. I will
The
show
Port
you
of London, please. Re británico el inglés. The hell in the haircut. Vamos. Bravo. Terminamos el primer capítulo. The Blood Did the Night. Port of London. Ya, da. Sí, me acuerdo. Sí, pero me trae, sí. ¿Eh? Confía en mí. De 5 20 minutos. No son ni 20 minutos. Pero crece igual. Ahora sí sale Rainbow. Ya. Para que los carree, incarreales de mierda.
Compelling mystery we have stumbled upon. Perhaps I have the premise of my next novel.
One kidnapping does not a story make.
Stop! A black cat crossed before us. It's a bad omen.
I do not take you for the superstitious type, Doctor. Such things are mere fantasies, tricks of a feeble mind. One imagines a physician would keep a surer footing in reality.
Perhaps, before the war, my time abroad was difficult. Once, I came across an Afghan, bleeding, who I could not save. He pressed a rosary into my hand. A gift, he said, so as to gain God's favor. After that...
Dr. Watson?
Yes, well, I shan't get into details, but sometime later I found myself lost in the desert. Dehydration set in, and things grew ever more dire. The man's words came to me. I said a prayer, placed the rosary on a rock. A gift to gain God's favor.
And you were rescued?
Yes. A detachment of British soldiers found me.
To whom I'm grateful. Without their diligence, you would not be standing here and I would not have this case.
I'm sure you have another explanation prepared, Mr. Holmes, but I think I shall cling to the occasional superstition all the same.
To each his own, Dr. Watson. So long as it does not interfere with my methods, do it. We must press on, cat or no cat. The question remains, why abduct Kimahir?
Mírala, bueno, tenés buenos clips para YouTube, TikTok, pero ¿a qué precio? La sirena maldita. Bueno, gente, vamos a dejar hasta acá nuestro querido Sherlock Holmes. La verdad, bastante piola, me gustó. Así que nada, pueden conseguirlos en oferta en Steam.